In this video, we're going to talk about how to conjugate regular IR verbs in French. This is really similar to how you conjugate regular ER verbs in French. There are just a few changes. But the steps are the same. Step 1 is that you need to find the stem. And to find the stem, you remove the IR from the end of the infinitive. Step 2 is that you add the endings. Now, in my opinion, these endings are a little bit more complicated than the endings for ER verbs. They're just a little trickier to remember, but the concept is the same. So you have your subject pronouns, and the ending that you use depends on which subject pronoun you're using. So you'll need to look at which subject pronoun you're using in the sentence, and that will determine which ending you use. So your endings for IR verbs are IS, IS, IT, ISSONS, ISSEZ, and ISSENT. And that's it. Those are the only two steps. So let's look at an example. We'll look at the verb finir. Because that's a really basic, frequent IR verb. It means to finish. And step 1 is find the stem. So what will our stem be? Well, to find our stem, we take off the IR. So we're left with FIN. So our stem is FIN. I'm going to start with my subject pronouns again. And I'm only going to list il instead of il, elle, and on because it just gets kind of cumbersome. But you'll just need to know that il, elle, and on are always conjugated the same way. Okay? You can include them in your table if you would like. Same thing with il and elle, plural. Okay, so my stem is FIN. So I copy that down 6 times. FIN, 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 FIN. Stem is the same for all of them, never changes. Step 2 is add the endings. So these are our endings. IS, IS, IT, ISSONS, ISSEZ, ISSENT. So IS, IS, IT, and I'll underline them so you can see them better. ISSONS, ISSEZ, ISSENT. And you might think at first when you write these that there's something wrong because they look so long and kind of funny, but that's right. So if you're following these 2 steps and you're copying down these endings, you're doing it right. So try not to second guess yourself. So this is pronounced je finis, tu finis, il finit. None of these final letters are pronounced. So fini, fini, fini. They all sound the same. Over here we've got finissons, finissez, finis. Do you remember the rule that says when you have ENT on the end of a verb, you don't pronounce it? So never pronounce the ENT on the end of a verb. So fini, 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 finissons, finissez, finisse. Okay, and what do these mean? Let's do two this time. So this would be you finish, you do finish, and you are finishing. Okay, so it's kind of neat that in English we have these three different ways of saying what in French they have one way of saying. So we only have to learn this one way. You don't have to learn three separate ways of saying these. There really aren't any exceptions to this, but I'd like to do one more as an example, just for more practice. The ones that some people find kind of tricky are the ones that where the stem ends with an S. So let's do the verb choisir, which means to choose. So what's our stem? To find the stem, we take off the IR, so we're left with CHOIS. So our stem is CHOIS. I'm going to set up my subject pronouns. Okay, so my stem is the same for all of them, so CHOIS, 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 CHOIS. Okay, now we got our endings. Let's go back up and look. IS, IS, IT. IS, IS, IT. Can you see why some people find this kind of confusing? They think they're doing it wrong because you have IS right here on the end of the stem, but then you also have IS in the ending. That's okay, as long as you're following the steps, you're doing it right. Okay? And then over here, we've got the ending ISSONS, ISSEZ, ISSENT. So ISSONS, ISSEZ, ISSENT. So choisissons, choisissez, choisissent. And again, we've got the IS on the end of the stem, and then ISS on the ending. So a lot of times people see this and they think it looks funny and they think they're doing something wrong. But again, if you're following the steps, don't second guess yourself. This is correct. Okay, and that is how you conjugate a regular IR verb in French.